Welcome back to CBS Sports HQ. As the Arch Manning era gets underway at Texas, we know the expectations are sky high, and a big reason why is the long lineage of NFL talent that the Manning family has produced. It all started with Archie Manning back in 1971 when he went number 2 overall to the Saints, followed by the brothers who went 1 overall both of those years. And there's a big expectation that Arch Manning could be the next number 1 overall pick. However, we're kind of waiting to see when that's going to be. Archie Manning came out and said that Arch is going to return to Texas next year. Here's Arch Manning clearing up some of the confusion that we've had this offseason.
Arch, your grandpa gave an interview where he said he expects you to be here next year. Is he right?
Yeah, I don't know where he got that from. He texted me and apologized about that, but I'm really just taking it day by day right now.
We love a good text apology to clear up a social media storm as we welcome in our Mike Renner joining us here, going to give us a look at his top 10 prospects when it comes to the college football ranks. We'll see if Arch Manning gets underway on this list, Mike, but we're going to start with number 10. It's a familiar name, but a new location. Nico Iamaleava coming in as your 10th best prospect in college football. Tell us more about why he gets the nod here at number 10.
Yeah, this was the number 2 quarterback recruit right behind Arch Manning in that 2023 class. And it doesn't take long to see why. I mean, the guy runs like a deer. He's 6'6", 215, super long. And when he tacks down the football field, you see the zip. Now, the Tennessee offense didn't really do him any favors. We talked about that when Hendon Hooker came out. It is very gimmicky. It's very college-y. That's a big reason why he wanted to get out of there. Transfers to UCLA. It's going to open up basically the playbook for him, open up from an NFL evaluation perspective. But he has some other things too. His deep ball accuracy was not great last year, and you look at the frame, he's still skinny. This guy would get broken in half in the NFL. He's not Jaden Daniels level of athlete to really avoid contact consistently, so those are the things he needs to work on. Certainly
going to be heavier than most expectations given the process to get to UCLA, but I've enjoyed the perspective that he has had at this new location. All right, Mike, let's go to number 9 on your list. There's been a lot of conversation about a gentleman named John Mateer being the savior, if you will, for the Sooners. Tell us more about his NFL outlook and what he can do this year at Oklahoma.
Yeah, the guy's got a cannon for an arm. I mean, from a tools perspective, he's about as good as it gets in the draft class. His arm talent's insane. I mean, his ability to push the ball is elite. It's going to be high in the NFL. I mean, like, he reminds me a little bit of Caleb Williams just from the athlete. He's 6'1", 224. So on the shorter side, but it really rarely shows up. Last year was his first year as starter. Obviously, he sat behind someone who was pretty good there in Cam Ward, who's right below him on that list. He is just inconsistent, wildly inconsistent at times. Now, I'm buying into what we saw at the end of the season. The last 3 games are his best 3 games of the year, but he's going to need to continue that throughout a whole season at Oklahoma before he even considers even going out in the draft, because what we saw last year at times was just so up and down that he feels like he's maybe a year or 2 away.
Still got to rebuild that brand a little bit, especially when you think about what college football looks like now. It's good that he can go back and get another opportunity. Let's talk about the Sun Devils next, a very popular topic in my household. As you know, my husband is a Sun Devil, and he is very excited about the potential of Sam Leavitt this year. We're already seeing the Heisman whispers about this guy, but tell us more about why you're confident that he can be successful at the next level.
Yeah, he's got a good shot at that because he's got one of the best, if not the best receiver in the country outside of obviously those guys that play at Ohio State, and Jordan Tyson, probably the best draft-eligible wide receiver, and he's just a high-end athlete. I love watching him play the quarterback position because every play can end up a big play. He's at his best when he's on the move. He even puts himself on the move a little bit. He feels like more comfortable on the move than he is from the pocket at times. He does need to develop as a pure pocket passer, but you love the athlete. You love what he did in his very first year as a starter, and he was still young too. I believe he was a redshirt freshman last year, so he's got at least 2 more years of eligibility if he wants them.
All right, let's keep our list going. We are at number 7 here, and it's interesting because we're going to talk about the TCU quarterback, but this is the first game for Bill Belichick as he takes over the reins at UNC. So there's already going to be a lot that we're paying attention to from that front, but the quarterback behind center, Josh Hoover for TCU, what should we know about him, and why does he come in at number 7?
He's another guy, and this list is full of just like crazy athletes. He's another guy who's super athletic, and what I love about him is he held up in tight pockets, under pressure, and still delivered some strikes down the football field. Probably did that as well as anyone returning in college football last season. Of all the passers that had over 3,200 yards passing last year, he took the fewest sacks of the bunch, and it's not as if TCU's offensive line was this world beater. He just knows how to avoid those negative plays. He has a gunslinger mentality. He's going to let it rip. I'm interested to see how he does, though, this year. He lost 2 top 100 wide receivers from a year ago. Interested to see if that offense maintains that level or even takes a next step in his development here.
It's hard to believe that TCU was playing for a national championship, 3 years ago, and now we're sort of reshuffling how we think about the Horned Frogs, but it helps when you have the number 7 prospect behind center. Let's move ahead to number 6 on your list, which we're getting a look at right now, Mike. Lenoris Sellers, a very interesting character out of the SEC because kind of gives almost, I don't want to say Anthony Richardson vibes, I don't want to put bad juju on him, but there's a lot to like, a lot about the potential at Lenoris Sellers at number 6.
No, it's impossible not to watch his tape and see guys like Anthony Richardson or guys like Trey Lance, which is a gift and a curse. I mean, he will, when he declares for the NFL draft, be drafted very highly. I almost felt bad having to rank him on this list because he's just so far behind developmentally compared to the other guys, but he's also the youngest guy in this list. He just turned 20. He will be, if he goes out in this next year's draft, a 20-year-old on draft day, which is super young for a quarterback. This guy just needs more time. But from the athlete perspective, he is like an Anthony Richardson. He's 6'3", 240, and like he can make guys miss in the hole. Like this guy, if he wanted to just play tight end tomorrow, he could probably be a first-round pick tight end if he wanted to. That's the caliber of athlete we're dealing with. And then he has like 70 yards in the tank if he wants to push the ball down the football field. So it really is all there. I just need to see a little bit more from a developmental perspective. And hopefully with today's NIL landscape, he won't be in a rush to get to the NFL draft and suffer the same fate as those guys I mentioned.
It has been fun getting to know him a little bit through the SEC documentary on Netflix, just sort of peeling back the curtain on his personality. But to your point, we need to see him take that next step. Let's see if this next quarterback can take the next step at Indiana. How, Mike, did Fernando Mendoza go from being largely unknown to the number 5 quarterback prospect on your list today?
I mean, he balled out last year. You saw him go toe-to-toe with Cam Ward in that Cal versus Miami game, and it's like, I cannot believe what he did given the talent level surrounding him there at Cal. Now, he had a pretty good tight end in Jack Gendrys. He had a pretty good running back in Jaden Ott. Both those guys, unfortunately, transferred for Cal fans. But there was not receiving talent. There was not O-line talent. Cal hasn't had an offensive player drafted since 2017. This is not a powerhouse. They should not have been as good offensively as they were. It was this guy. His ability to make quick decisions behind that offensive line with a big arm. And he has a little athleticism, too. He's more of a pocket passer, but he can run when necessary. So I'm very excited to see. You kind of throw out the Cal tape because what he does at Indiana this year on a bigger stage against better competition, that's going to make or break his draft stock.
And you know people are going to love him because everybody loves Indiana and Kurt Cignetti and all the things that come with that program. So he's in a good spot there, coming in at number 5 on your list. So let's get inside the top 5, Mike, because I feel like these quarterbacks is where we start to get a little, we're nickel and diming some of these qualities here. We're going to go to Drew Aller at number 4, and it feels like there's no quarterback in the college football world right now with more pressure than Drew Aller. Every year, this is Penn State's year. What do college scouts look for when they watch Drew Aller play, and why does he come in at number 3 or 4?
Well, he's a guy that it doesn't take, a trained eye to see why the NFL scouts love him. He's 6'5", 240. He moves so efficiently in the pocket. He's got quick feet for that size. And then his arm is just like, I mean, some of the throws he makes down the football field are insane. And he's a gamer, too. That's his best quality, in my opinion, on a lot of 3rd and 4th downs. He's going to go get a bucket. He's going to go make a play. And unfortunately, he kind of went down swinging last year, trying to make that play against Notre Dame, resulted in a pick. That's just what needs to change. The questionable decision-making at times, and then the wobblers. I think his mechanics need to get a little more consistent. He had more non-spirals than anyone else on this list that I saw last year. If he can be more consistent with his sequencing, be more accurate, this guy has number 1 overall pick potential.
Listen, it is championship or bust at this point for Penn State. I don't know how many years in a row we're going to say this is their year, and the cast of characters still be the same. Let's move on to number 3, Mike Renner. It is not often in this day and age that we see a quarterback who stays his entire 4 years, 5 years, 3 years, whatever it is, at one school, but Cade Klubnik has done that. He has gotten better each and every year. So as he enters his senior year this year, Mike, what are the expectations for him at Clemson?
They got to be pretty sky high, because when you look at my top 50 draft board that comes out tomorrow, Clemson has more people than anyone else, and more people like really high on the list. So this Clemson team, they're right in the bucket with Penn State of they should be right up there with anyone in the country. And Klubnik is the signal caller who every single year of his career, like he was a 5-star recruit sort of guy that kind of had the Bo Nix start to his career where people were like, should we be benching this guy? He's not playing well at all as a sophomore. And then by his junior year, he was one of the best quarterbacks in the country. That Texas game in the biggest stage in the playoff last year was his best game of the season. You love to see guys like that who continually improve, who show up when it matters most. As an athlete, from a tools perspective, reminds me a little of J.J. McCarthy. Like he's tuned up, he's a twitchy guy, but he's undersized, 6'2", just over 200 pounds, needs to get a little bit stronger. But if this, kind of like Jackson Dart did, where he kept taking next step after next step, if Cade Klubnik does the same, he'll end up a first rounder.
All right, this is where it gets really close, Mike. 1 and 2 is all we have left. We mentioned Arch Manning in the lead-in, so we know he's going to fall in one of these spaces. But between Garrett Nussmeier and Arch, it's been this kind of battle. They're jockeying for who's going to be the #1 quarterback in college football. You have Garrett Nussmeier coming in at number 2. It is August 20th, so I know that things can change. But why right now do you have Nussmeier at 2?
It's just the tools is what it comes down to. Nussmeier, from like a pure tools perspective, he's the worst we've talked about on this list. He's not a runner. He has the weakest arm. He is, his frame is not very imposing. My physical comp for him is Kirk Cousins, which should tell you like kind of where he fits in the NFL hierarchy. But he has NFL bloodlines of his own. His dad was an NFL quarterback, and he kind of has the understanding of the quarterback position that only comes with seeing this stuff, learning this stuff since you were like 5, 6, 7, all the way up, and you see that mastery at a level that no one else, not even Arch Manning, has on this list. So he's a very safe prospect, even if he may not have the highest ceiling of these guys. You watch him play and you're like, that guy can play on Sundays. He manipulates pockets well, he avoids sacks well, he takes good chances into tight windows. Even if there were some bonehead throws on tape, it was his only year as a starter, sat behind a guy who was pretty good in Jaden Daniels. So I'm not going to hold that against him, but year 2, I expect very big things with more weapons at receiver.
And it's interesting because while we don't know the draft order right now, we are anticipating the Saints being at the top when it comes to the draft, and there's a lot of connections there between both Garrett Nussmeier and, of course, the #1 player that comes in on this quarterback list in Arch Manning. We heard from Arch at the top of this segment. He says, Grandpa texted me, we're all good. I'm not sure why he said that. So the expectation continues that he'll be the #1 player taken off the board if available next year, Mike.
Yeah, I would. That's why I take it. I think he's that good. It's not just the name. It is what he brings to the table. He can fly. He has real deal wheels. I've said it's like you took the last generations of Manning, you gave him a software update for the modern game, and you put some wheels on him, and you said, now you can go run, too. And now you can go make some plays outside the pocket like everyone else is doing at the quarterback position. So big arm, tight release, 2 starts, yeah. Louisiana Monroe, Mississippi State, those 2 games, he was just spectacular. And his ability to push the ball down the football field will be night and day from what Quinn Ewers was doing last year. He averaged 11.1 was his average depth of target. He wants to attack. You love to see that from a young quarterback because that's hard to coach into guys. He already wants to. Easier to reel him in than let him fly. Arch Manning, I think he's going to fly this year.
Man, Horns fans right now just conflicted about if they should get attached to Arch Manning or if they should enjoy him while they have him. Either way, he is #1 on your list. Mike Renner, we appreciate